Alright, so we're back here by the fire pit, and I'm just giving a brief section. I think I've touched on it a little bit, but so back here is where we have set up our composting. And initially we just had this one, but we went ahead and set up the system. So if I back up, there's many ways to do this. A lot of times you can buy those pre-made little plastic bins, and you can sometimes get the ones that turn and put air into the compost. It's important that compost gets air, and also it has to heat up. Otherwise, it'll happen. You know, compost will happen no matter what. But if you're just putting all greens or you're all browns and it just sits there, it's going to take a long time to break down, and it's not really going to be as good as far as the nutrients that it gives the soil. So we do have a pile over here that in the past, before we've really gotten into composting, we've just done the compost happens method, and we just threw everything down here. We usually shredded it and put it in here. It's pretty good, but this we use mostly as a mulch, just because I wouldn't count on it being really good compost. We never checked the temperature. You wanted a certain temperature because it'll kill the bad living things, but if it gets too hot, it'll kill the good stuff. So you want to kill off the bad and you want to keep the good, and that's what makes a good compost, and it'll turn really black and earthy. So this we use mostly as a mulch. And so this system is normally you'd want maybe 3, and you have a beginning, middle, and end, but we have an extra one and another one laying down we can use. So if we wanted to store some, we could. So this was our first one, and we had it in the smaller one, but basically you want to make it like layers. You want it to look like lasagna. If you make it look like lasagna, it'll speed up the process. So you want to put a layer of browns and then a layer of greens, browns, greens, all the way up. There's different things you can do. You can add fertilizer. It'll help heat it up, and it'll also add fertilizer. So what we're going to do is our ducks are coming by the end of the month, and they're going to be on a chopped straw bedding, and then after, it's going to be a deep litter method, and after a while we're going to take that straw and we're going to put it over here, and it's going to have duck manure. So basically our compost is going to have like a duck manure in it, which I know in some places, I know one place in California has like a mallard compost. So it's a compost, but it's amended with duck manure. So that's what we're going to do here. So you just do this lasagna method, and for browns, this isn't a complete list, but the ones that we're going to focus on, browns are dead leaves. So we had to prune a tree, a really, really old tree that never got pruned. That's why there's so many branches. And then all these leaves, as they die, we're going to use them. So dead leaves are brown. Paper, we shred our paper, and if it doesn't go into the worm bin, it can go in here. So those are examples of browns. Also, what you see here is straw. So browns. Greens are like your vegetable waste from your table scraps. So again, if the worms have enough food in their worm bin, then the scraps would come out here. Or if it's actual greens and there's enough of it, it would go to ducks. So your table scraps, like your greens, you know, and your peppercorns and banana peels and all that, will go out here. Also, grass clippings or greens. Grass clippings themselves have a lot of uses. You can use them as a mulch. Now, if you ever use it a lot and it gets wet, it's going to smell, but it is a mulch. And also, you can use it as fertilizer. You can make a fertilizer tea, and you can spray it. But ideally, what we're using it for is this. So mostly what we're using is shredded paper and straw that will be amended with duck manure, and then our greens are going to be our vegetable waste and grass clippings. And there's many more things, and you can research it, but for us, that's what we have a lot of. So you start it here, and you want to get enough to where you can put a big pile. You want a minimum of 3 feet by 3 feet and 3 feet high, because you want mass. if it doesn't have mass, it won't heat up inside. Ours is 4 feet. And so you do here, once it gets to a middle stage process, you move it to the next one over like this one is. It's already, when you take that out and look at it, you can actually see burned grass, and you can see that it's, looking at it, you can see that it's dark. And when it started, it wasn't that dark. Then when this gets just to be about done, we'll move it to the last one, and there's where it'll finish off. And you want it on this one to be really, really dark. And then you just keep cycling through. If you do it correctly, you should be able to get compost completely through the cycle in a few months. I'd say 3 months, 4 months. That's if you do it well and you pay attention to it. It's going to happen regardless, but again, you can speed it up. And we're going to try to keep it going as fast as we can because we have a lot of uses for it here. Alright, so that's that. Hope you enjoyed this video.